Good morning, brothers and sisters and family. My name is Gloria Middleton, president of CWA Local 1180 and at-large executive board member for the Northeast region. It's an honor to introduce the next speaker of the conference, and as we look ahead, the next Speaker of the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries. Before he was House Democratic leader, he was already showing up for working people. From the beginning of his public service, Leader Jeffries has understood that working people are not an afterthought in our democracy. We are at the center of it. That belief has been consistent across every stage of his career, from his time as an assembly member in New York to his service in Congress, and now as House Democratic leader. At every level, he has made it clear that Labor's voice belongs in the room on any issue related to collective bargaining rights or economic fairness. He has shown up as an ally who understands that unions are not just stakeholders, we are a driving force for dignity and opportunity in this country. And nobody stood stronger than Cablevision workers in New York City trying to organize with CWA than Hakeem Jeffries. Yes? I remember that fight. In a political environment where workers' rights and collective bargaining protections are increasingly under pressure, Leader Jeffries has refused to back down. He is a leader who does more than talk about protecting workers. When it is a time to fight for us, he is the first person in the ring. Please join me in giving a warm CWA welcome to the Democratic leader of the House and soon-to-be Speaker of the House, Hakeem Jeffries.
Good morning, good afternoon. Is CWA in the house right now? Are you ready to take our country back? Are you ready to help us win back control of the House of Representatives in November? What an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you. Thank you, Gloria, for your friendship and your leadership and those very generous words of introduction. And of course, to President Claude Cummings, so thankful for him, one of the best labor leaders this side of heaven. And we're so thankful for him and so thankful for this great union. I began my career in public service 20 years ago when I was first elected to the New York State Assembly. And the first union to endorse me in that race was CWA. And so you've been with me from the very beginning. And it was so meaningful because, as many of you know, as Claude knows, as Gloria knows, I was raised in a union household. Both my parents, public employees throughout their entire lives. And in fact, when they got married in 1967. They were newlyweds. At the time, they worked for what was called the Social Service Employees Union, SSEU. They were known at the time as a union for so-called welfare workers in New York City. And they were operating under difficult conditions, those workers, underpaid, poor workplace conditions for their clients. And so shortly after my parents got married, SSEU went out on strike, a famous strike in New York City, fighting for better working conditions, better pay, better health care, better retirement benefits. And so my parents had an interesting decision to make. Both of them working at the same time for the city of New York? Were they going to stand with their union brothers and sisters in fighting for better working conditions, knowing that it would be unclear where they would be able to get the money to pay the rent or for their basic costs, fresh off of being married, or would they cross the picket line for short-term gain? And I was proud to learn years later that they both made the decision to go out on strike and stand with their union brothers and sisters in that righteous fight. And as I've thought about that over the years, this is what all of you continue to fight for right now. That decision that my parents made went on to benefit our family in such tremendous ways. In the 1970s, when my younger brother was born, and he's doing really good now, but he was born with a serious heart condition. It was a tough moment, but it was that union-negotiated health care that got our family through that difficult time. And then, about a decade after that, my parents bought their first and only home in a working-class neighborhood in central Brooklyn. It was a modest home, but they were able to raise a family there, and they bought that home because of their union-negotiated salary, and eventually were able to pay down the mortgage. And then at some point after that, when it was time for me and my younger brother to go to college, and he went to a historically black college and university down in Atlanta, and I went to a University of State School upstate New York, but neither he or I could figure out how, when we graduated from college, we didn't have any debt, notwithstanding the very modest salaries of both of my parents. And we asked our mom about that, and she said, well, I wanted to make sure that you two had a fresh start in life, and so I borrowed against my union-negotiated pension to ensure that my two sons would have no debt when they emerged from college. And so I just stand before you today to say, you don't ever have to worry about whether Hakeem Jeffries is going to stand up for you or organized labor, because organized labor has always been there for me. And we're going to fight to make sure that organized labor can continue to be there for you, for your families, and for the American people. Because this moment is about people power versus unbridled, corrupt political power that is coming out of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the most corrupt administration in American history. This guy makes Richard Nixon look like a choir boy. People power versus unbridled, corrupt political power. But I'm thankful for this union, for your commitment to making sure that we can keep the great American dream alive. And we're partners with you in that regard. We believe in this great country that when you work hard and when you play by the rules, you should be able to live an affordable life, a comfortable life, and live the good life. And we can define what that good life looks like. A good paying job. Can I break it down for y'all? Good paying job, good housing, good health care, good education for your children, and when it's all said and done, a good retirement. Which, by the way, also means that we have a responsibility to make sure that we keep the MAGA extremist hands off your Social Security and your Medicare at all times. Good paying job, good health care, good housing, good education for your children, and a good retirement. That's the American dream. And I'm here to unequivocally make clear that no one has done more to make that American dream available to the greatest number of people than the organized labor movement. No one has done more. And now we're responsible to making sure we can keep it alive in the face of unprecedented extremism being unleashed on the American people. And as House Democrats, we believe our responsibility is to continue to aggressively push back against that extremism while fighting to bring about a better life for hardworking American taxpayers, for the brothers and sisters, the men and women of organized labor, for working class folks, middle class folks, the poor, the sick, the afflicted, and all those who desire to be part of the middle class. And so our commitment to you as we move forward is that we're going to do everything we can to drive down the high cost of living, everything we can to fix our broken healthcare system, because we believe in this country that access to high quality, affordable healthcare can't simply be a privilege available to the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. Access to high-quality, affordable health care is a right that should be available to everyone. And we're going to work hard with you to bring that about. We're going to work hard to protect the right to organize, and one of the first things that we'll do in the majority is to bring the PRO Act up for a vote on the floor of the House of Representatives, send it over to the Senate with a strong vote, and urge them to get it done as well. We're committed. We believe that in this country, taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not to brutalize or kill them. And so we're committed to doing everything necessary to get ICE under control, which is why we're not giving them another dime of taxpayer dollars until they are dramatically reformed. And of course, we're committed together to make sure that we do what's necessary to end this reckless and costly war of choice in the Middle East. And we'll move legislation today on the floor of the House of Representatives that we believe we can get over the finish line to force this administration to stop spending these taxpayer dollars overseas on this reckless adventure and to focus on actually making your lives better and the lives of the American people. And lastly, let me just say that what the Supreme Court has unleashed in this country is disgusting. And these justices, so-called justices, they have zero credibility. They're not behaving like justices. They're operating like a wholly owned subsidiary of the Republican Party. And they've unleashed, and they will be held accountable, they've unleashed Jim Crow-like tactics throughout the Deep South to try to rip away hard-fought gains for black political representation and for free and fair elections generally. Which is why we're committed to making sure that one of the first things that we do when we take back control of the House, and we have to dramatically reform the electoral system. Citizens United has to go. And we need dramatic reform of the Supreme Court. Because they're no longer entitled to life tenure if they're going to continue to do this damage to the people of the United States of America. But one of the first things that we can do is to ensure that we pass the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act so we can end the era of voter suppression in the United States of America once and for all. So thank you for your incredible work. Together, let's go out and win the day, and win the week, and win the month, and win the year, and win the hearts and minds of the American people, and then together win back control of the House of Representatives and end this national nightmare in the United States of America. God bless you. God bless CWA. God bless the United States of America.